Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Clark, and welcome to this episode of the Boozadelic Chronicles. And today I have back my man, Mr. Brian Pope, Mr. Amun Unk-Tu-Amun. What's up, my brother?
Hey, I say Netaru, brother, and I say Netaru to all the viewers out there, and Unk-Tu-Amun, the last Pharaoh, and I'm just trying to spread the light through music.
Yes, I had you on a couple weeks ago, and we got into a little bit of the culture behind the last Pharaoh look, and also talked about the music. But today we want to get a little bit more in depth and talk about your upcoming or your new project. Is it upcoming, or you already got it out?
It's upcoming. I got one more track to finish, and once that's finished, then I go through the process of getting hard copies made, getting it ready for purchase and download, and this is going to be the first CD that I put a UPC code on and have it through all streaming platforms like Spotify, CD Baby, iTunes, Amazon. So it's going to be the first one. Usually when I release my albums, it's just mainly through my website.
Okay.
But I'm gonna try to get it out there worldwide.
So now, for someone like me that's a little older, and when you say UPC, I know that has to do with some sort of scan. So they'll have this UPC number. And so, like, does that mean every time it gets played, you get like credit for streams, or what? How does that work?
Well, see, UPC means Universal Purchase Code.
Okay.
And what it does, everything like you buy from a store has one. It's scanned. It's actually counting how many sales of that product goes out. And so that way, with the UPC code, I got one for the US. I got one for worldwide, like in Europe, in those areas, and it'll count my sales.
Okay. So now, you mentioned overseas, and I was talking to another artist, and they had mentioned something about the barometer to really see how your music's going to do is how your sales go in Europe.
Yeah, that's what the UPC codes here are a little different from Europe. I have, say, somebody in Germany buys it, so it'll have that overseas code. Whereas here, but if it can work, because if the one that I can use for the States works overseas, that's fine too.
All right. So how many tracks do you have on when this project is complete? How many tracks are we going to be listening to?
Okay. Let me see, because I got my folder pulled up. We're looking at 10 tracks.
All right. So now, I know you probably have like a variety of different tempos and motivations behind the music. So let's talk about that.
Well, the inspiration for this, the inspiration comes from the creator, Amun Ra. I got a mixture of comedic spirituality, science fiction, and all-out funk. So and I can just show you better than I can tell you.
All right, this is what I want to see, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, this one here is my single, pure and uncut, the True Light of Funk, and I'll play it in its entirety since it's already out there. Radio Indie International.
Radio Indie, like independent.
And you can listen. They got it in rotation. But the best way is to go to my YouTube channel. It's there.
All right.
And then I have snippets of the CD on my YouTube channel. But I'll play some more. But, you know, like I said, the main story is, you know, he's the last pharaoh. And on the day of his birth, his parents, you know, King Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti, you know, on the day of his birth.
Unk-Tu-Amun, the last pharaoh. And I bring the light. The light of funk. The true light of funk. Bringing the light. The true light of funk. Out of the dark, we can see it all. Stand together, you can rise, not fall. The last pharaoh is here to say, I'm bringing the light like a brand new day. Bringing the light, the true light of fun. Bringing the light, the true light of fun. Free your mind and your spirit too. The funk is here and it's good for you. No more sorrow and no more pain. Washes away like it's in the rain. Bringing the light, the true light of fun. Bringing the light, the true light of fun. Out of this world is how you feel. The power of funk is very real. You can feel it all through your soul. The fourth dimension is where you'll go. Bringing the light, the true light of fun. Bringing the light, the true light of fun. Praise God, the creator. Unk-Tu-Amun, the last pharaoh. I am. Keeper of the true funk energy. Bringer of the true light of funk to the universe. Funk is how the universe stays in harmony. Wishing all funkiness, peace,
I like that.
and universal love throughout the cosmos. The final frontier is still now. The final frontier is still. The light has been hidden. Awake, oh man, and be
Oh man,
wise.
I like that. What's the name of that song again?
Pure and uncut, the true light of funk.
Pure
And
Uncut.
it features my nephew Vince Bonham, aka Puncho, a brilliant musician in his own right. He plays the electric piano and keyboard bass on the track. You know, I was see, this song has went through kind of like different forms. And he was over at the studio one day, and I played him this. I said, like, nephew, I want you to listen to this. And I think on the bass line, I'm a couple of notes off. And I played it for him, and he found the wrong note. He said, "You want me to fix it, Unc?" I said, "Yeah, fix it." and he kills it on me. He kills it.
Okay.
It's been, you know, it gets plenty of play on Radio Indie International, and it's been getting a lot of hits on my YouTube channel. So
All right. So now, if the viewers want to get that, they can go to your website, or
So the great God Ra appears to them, and he tells them to give him the child because the child has the blood of many pharaohs, and he's been chosen for a higher purpose. And they they give him the child, and Ra sends him into deep space where he's raised by the gods themselves. They endowed him with their power. His task is to protect the universe, protect the cosmos, all planets, that from the darkness of the evil one set. He's the God's champion. And he has his queen, Queen Nefersu, and like that's the one track that I need to finish up because it's like a skit. And I hopefully I'll have a young singer to do the skit with me, and it'll be complete. But here I'll play a snippet of the music.
okay.
And
so now you talk about Set. That's the brother who killed Asar.
Yeah, that was brother of Osiris. People in Christian call him Satan, but his original name is Set. Goes by many names: Lucifer, Mistopheles, Belial, Baal. But when it goes back to his original name, Set.
Right.
Yeah, but here's the little snippet of the track that I need to finish.
Man,
Yeah.
so with that one, I can really see you talk about the science fiction, the sci-fi part of it. I can really actually kind of through that vibe of that music, see the sci-fi component like developing.
But the bass line, I love the bass line because it's killer, and it got that pulsating, throbbing, or just organic thing going on. I call it funk at its purest form.
And so
and what I did was I took it's actually two bass lines. One a regular I use like what I would call a fretless bass sound on my keyboard. And then I took the same bass line and did it in reverse. I reversed it.
Okay, yeah.
So that's how you get that throb in there. Boom,
yeah.
Boom, boom.
Well, what immediately came to mind when I heard that reverse sound, I was thinking of, had to go way back into the early days of hip hop when Rick Rubin had the Beastie Boys with Paul Revere.
Yeah.
And they had that reverse sound on that drum sound. I was kind of picking that up on that bass line. That was really, I like that.
I mean, doing the reverse thing is nothing new. I mean, Jimi Hendrix did it a lot in his music. If it gets a certain effect, that's if it works, you go with it.
Right.
but it's like a skit. It's like for the first time, Unk-Tu-Amun meets his queen, Nefersu. I have a script written for it and everything. Meets his queen, He falls immediately in love with her, and they're gonna go through this journey together.
Oh.
And then, you know, it's part of what I call the love trilogy, the introduction. Then I got a track on here called Love Slow Dance for the Love of Nefri Sue. This is, you know, it's kind of like a spoken word thing. And he's telling her how he's falling in love with her. Love is infinite as the universe, and as is your view, my queen Nefri. And on our journey, we will discover love together. Come, my love. Dance with me. Forever. Eternity. I waited for you. Can't you see? You are ever me for you, and you for me. You are more beautiful than the planets and constellations. He who sees all made you the perfect creation. I hold the heart of the universe in my arms. And you hold the heart of a pharaoh in your hand.
Yeah, that one had a nice, cool flow to it, man.
Yeah, you know, I put a little spoken word, and then I got the chorus in there, and I do the vocals myself.
Hey, less people to work with.
Well, you know, it gets a little boring and monotonous, so hopefully I'll have a young singer in here, and I like to have like a female voice in the mix there.
So now, are you looking? You having auditions for that?
Well, I got somebody in mind, and if she comes through, she'll be on the CD, and I'll start pushing her. I'll start pushing her out there. You know, I'm not gonna give any names yet till it's definite.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, this is the love trilogy, and now he's declaring his love on this track called "How You Make Me Feel." A pharaoh can have everything, but without you, my queen, it means nothing. You marry me. My soul just wants to fly. Higher than the thousand. It's how I feel inside. Oh, my heart in your head. Even though I'm a kid, but only for your love. I'll give up everything. How you make me feel. Yeah, you know, and I always when I record and when I write the song, you gotta make the words where it will touch somebody. You know, like this first verse, you hold my heart in your hand, even though I'm a king, but only for your love, I will give up everything. Now, this is the most powerful being in the universe saying he will give up everything for love.
Wow, that's deep.
You know, I said, tell me in this day and time who will give up everything for love.
Very few, a small percentage of folks would be willing to make that sacrifice. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, and you know, I gotta, and this the probably the only track on this upcoming CD that has a guitar solo. I laid one
Okay.
down.
All right. I want to hear this now.
Let me see, I'm gonna speed it. I'm gonna try to speed it up a little bit. Where there we go.
Hey, you were hitting some serious notes on that, my brother. Shredding on a
Thank you.
mellow groove. I like that.
Yeah. You know, I do that on one of my on a track on my one of my other CDs called "Keep It in the Dark," and I do a solo on that one too.
So
Yeah, I feel as far as guitar is concerned, if I need to put it in there, I put it in there. If I don't, I don't.
uh-huh.
I mean, you know, Prince did the same thing. If he needed to put the guitar in there, he put it in there. If he didn't need it, he never put it in there.
Okay, so now that you mentioned guitar, and I'm a huge fan of guitar solos. I can't play a guitar. I mess around with the bass, but I cannot get that guitar. But what would be the song that you probably would say has the like just the hardest core, your most hardcore guitar solo that you put out so far?
Uh, I would tell you to go to my YouTube channel and check out a track, Uncle Funk's Revenge.
Uncle Funk's Revenge.
Oh yeah, that's and my only regret on that track is it was in the early days and I was learning how to record on the computer and everything. I wish I could have been. I wish it would have been a little bit more balanced. I'm thinking about redoing it though.
Yeah, man, that's you got to do that.
But that you know that now if you want to hear some guitar hero type stuff, I highly recommend you listen to that one. Plus, I got another one. You know, I'm doing my own solo to the Michael Jackson "Beat It."
I actually heard that because you posted a snippet of that. I like that.
Yeah, so you know, I did, but yeah, yeah, Uncle Funk's Revenge. You know, I did it to show people that hey, I can do the guitar hero stuff. I can play really fast, and I can do all the two-handed stuff, and still keep it and still keep it funky.
Right. Okay. So what else you got on there for us?
Okay, he's making his journey. Unk-Tu-Amun is making his journey towards Earth. So this track here is called "Before the Storm," and he's getting ready. So he's talking about it. So it's kind of another spoken word.
I hear the universe calling out to me as I make my journey through infinite space. move with the power of the stolen behind me, I move with the speed of a star. Bring the I bring the light and power of funk to worlds in need. Harmony indeed. Worlds in need.
So spoken word. That's the second song that I've heard that you got a little bit of spoken word. So you a fan of spoken word? Or you used to do that like locally or something?
They have some spoken word artists around the area. And I'm like, you know, if I don't think I can sing to it, I'll do the spoken word style to it. And this is an example, this track is an example of, you know, I needed to put some guitar on it. So I put some on this track. And I did like a jazz style, Wes Montgomery type deal. Mm-hmm. And it seemed to, it fits it real good. And then, like I said, I got to give a shout out to my nephew, Vince Bonham, aka Puncho. You know, he played the keyboard bass on this one. And he did the key work on the other track, How You Make Me Feel. So, you know, he comes over here every so often, puts his little touch here and there.
Well, that's nice to have, you know, a youngster in the family that can come by and, you know, just add that element to it for you.
Yeah, you know, and I rather he's like my critic.
Uh-huh.
And I'd rather have somebody tell me, one person tell me, this is some garbage. You need to fix this.
Yes.
And I fix it before you get it out there, before 1 million people listen to it and tell you it's garbage. So, you know, and I always say, if you're going to record music, put thought into it and have somebody with good ears listen.
Right.
And last but not least, be your own worst critic. Don't think everything you do is good. Because I'll record something one day and come back to it the next day and say, ew, you know, I need to change this. This is some garbage.
You know, I'm sure that's a trait of any great artist that you would have to do that. And I know this is a business that's not really for the thin of skin, because I mean, you got to take some brutal honesty. And one of the radio programs I listened to on Sirius satellite radio, they were talking about that. I think it was a Sway in the Morning one time, right before they were trying to, you know, I think it was at the last South by Southwest. And so when they had people, you know, calling in to audition and drop their bars, you know, they had to cut a few of them up. And they said, look, you know, go back in the studio, go back in the lab. You need to refine it, because you need somebody to be honest with you. You know, if you have your family around you and they're going to be telling you, oh, that's great, just because they want to support you, and then you get the chance, you go out on stage and bomb, then you know, you're not going to want to be back out there.
You go out there and sound, if you sound crappy in the studio, guess what? You're going to sound crappy out there.
Yeah.
That's just real.
Right.
I mean, I and people inbox me their stuff, and I'm not gonna give out no names because I'm not gonna embarrass anybody. Uh-huh. But you know, they, you know, some of that funk, you know, it needs to, you know, it needs to be. They need to go back in the studio and rework it, or send it to me, and I'll fix it. You know, right. And that's thing, you know, and I was telling you know, a certain artist this over Facebook. I was telling them this. Recording music is an art. Doing the engineering part of it is another art.
Right.
So, you know, it's easy to record, but mixing it to what they call industry quality, that's where you got to have a standard. And it has to be where it's industry quality, because, you know, you got to look at who you up against.
Right. And I was watching something the other day, one of the documentaries. You have to
No.
have something to help refine that process. And I know there's a
Right.
lot of inspiring people out there that want to try to do it all themselves. But I mean, that's one in a million. Can't every? Oh, it was Prince. That's what it was. As bad as Prince was, when he was writing some of his songs, he did have some people help him arrange it for a
Now,
while. Didn't?
yeah, I talked to the very man that actually helped Prince in his career,
Uh-huh.
Peppy Willie. Peppy Willie
Yes.
showed Prince how to work the studio.
Uh-huh.
Peppy Willie, showed Prince how to work everything, how to arrange stuff, how to do it in the studio.
Right.
A lot of the instruments, but he didn't play it all in the studio. There was uncredited cameos in there. He had Patrice Rushen play on a track. That's uncredited. The song "Kiss" was not originally written by Prince. It was written by his protege band Maserati.
I was about to say I saw that on the that Prince documentary the other day.
Yeah, it was. They actually tried to do it like a country song. He wanted to do a country type song, and he sent it to Maserati. They did their thing on it. They sent it back to Prince, and Prince wanted to put the track on Under the Cherry Moon. And then he gives them credit for writing doing the track.
So Under the Cherry Moon, that was kind of that one was a strange one. I mean, it was like it didn't do as well as they thought it was going to do.
Well, the movie stunk, but the soundtrack was good.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to follow up to Purple Rain. As far as the movie part.
I mean, they tried to do like a graffiti bridge. That was supposed to be Purple Rain 2. But if they'd have did it like they did Purple Rain, it probably would have done a lot better.
Right.
But yeah, but Prince is one of my idols, though. He was one of the people that made me want to pick up the guitar. And his artistry. And I said this like on a Facebook public board. They was talking about Prince stealing from every James Brown and Sly Stone and everything. And I told him, he was influenced by that. He's going to take that and do his own thing. And that's what I admire about Prince. He didn't get out there trying to sound like what influenced him. He took what influenced him and turned it into his own thing.
The one thing that, if they're going to try to say that he stole anything, the only thing I would say that he stole from like James Brown would be the work ethic, because he completely changed that sound. He became the hardest working man in show business for a while.
Oh yeah, they say Prince rarely slept.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to play another track here, and this is called the Storm Trilogy. See, this project is mainly based up on a couple of trilogies.
You feel the power of pure energy, when you free your mind, then your spirit will fly. Let go of the hate that keeps blocking your way. When you feel the power of energy,
All right. That one, I love that. Love the flow of that.
Yeah, and the thing I always say, the lyrics the lyrics always, if your lyrics go with coincide with the song, you got you a hit. You know, and one thing always like to say, my music does not degrade women. It doesn't have profanities or obscenities in it. You know, it's positive energy. You know, when somebody's popping that CD and their CD player, I want them to feel the energy.
That comes from the heart, man. And that's I appreciate that. I listen to what's popular right now. You don't hear that much of that anymore because
We'll see. Like today's music is based on what's gonna sell, and I done heard some garbage that then turned some talentless people into millionaires. I'm like, something's not right here. That music is garbage.
Yeah, well, I think about that when back in the day I used to have a job working as a bouncer in a club. And I would be sitting there and I'd hear certain songs come on, and I'd be like, man, that is the corniest stuff in the world. But it's like selling millions of bread. It's because the way it's marketed, you put a catchy beat to it, you get a video showing some women with very little clothing on, showing some, people with a bunch of jewelry on and all that. And people are just like soaking it up.
Well, see, that gives out the wrong image. And that's geared towards the young, the young, they go out and buy it like this. But gangster rap, ever since that came out, the crime rate went up.
Well, music is shaped.
Don't get me wrong, because I lived out there in California, and I listened to it. I love the beats they use because they reach down into the old school, but it's the message that they're putting out.
Right. And
you can't glorify degrading women. You can't glorify guns. You can't glorify selling dope. You can't glorify going to prison,
And I've seen over the years just so much of the culture itself influencing our youth, because not everybody's strong enough to say, okay, that might have worked for them. That's not what I'm going to choose. Jail ain't cool to me. But you see it all the time. The kids in the pictures, they all have the jail pose, doing all those crazy poses, and the way the young men talk to the women, and so disrespectful. And I've often wondered how much of that is actually tied to the constant images they get from, whether it's an audio, that they pick up from these songs, videos that they see, or what is accepted out there in the community.
Well, see, if it's accepted out there in the community, then grandma must like it too. And I'm sure grandma gonna have something to say about that.
Well, today's grandma's not the same grandmas it used to be, man. Some of these grandmas, I can remember one time I was working in an alternative school, and I was in my latter 30s by the time probably about 36. And so this lady comes up to the school, and she says that she's so-and-so's grandmother. Well, this so-and-so's grandmother was the same age I was then. And I was thinking, holy cow, for her to be a grandmother at her age, I started doing the math. I'm like, wow. And so they're listening to that stuff too.
Yeah, you get some grandmas that want to be what they call thoughts.
Yeah.
But it's like I say, funk music should be positive. But I'm going in again, because when it comes to funk, I'm gonna be honest. Goofiness and cartoonery, when we got all this stuff going on, to me, it's not cutting. Like I say, I'm trying to take funk out of the disco age and bring it into the now, the space age. We got to look at what's going on in our world. You know, we sometimes we gotta we gotta express how we feel. That's, as artists, we can express how we feel. We can do it through music. You know, but I'm gonna do another one here, and this is called After the Storm.
Okay.
And this track is like a prelude to some of my later on music that I got going on. Yeah, I, Unk-Tu-Amun, the land of Pharoah, I'm around. And now you can feel some fuck energy. I am. Feel the energy. And now you realize it's pure energy. Coming from me, once you were blind, and now you can see that you can make peace and dream harmony. This energy will make you right. Believe in it will become a beautiful life, shining bright for all to see. You like the sun with a open up your eyes, and now you realize it's pure energy. You need.
All right. So you got an instrumental track on this album.
Yeah, it's called Planet Funk.
Planet Funk. All right, let's hear Planet Funk.
Yeah. But this was actually a song that I did a while back, and then I redid it, cleaned it up a little bit, tightened it up, and I put it on this project. I said, after the whole world has been infused with funk energy, it becomes Planet Funk. Yeah, Planet Funk.
All right, Planet Funk. Man, that you had some sounds in there that I ain't heard in years. So that bass line immediately remind me of what's his name, Tyrone Brunson, rapper, dapper, snapper, because that boom, 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 that sound. I love that.
You know, and what I try to do, I try to take what influences me
Mm-hmm.
and turn it into my own little thing. You know, I don't want to try and sound like Parliament Funkadelic. They
Right.
done it. You know, I'm not trying to sound like Prince. He done it. You know, I'm not trying to sound like Rick James. He done it. You know, you gotta take a little bit of all those elements and just turn them into your own thing. And
Right.
But I hear, you know, I like to say that, you know, hey, I'm gonna be honest when it comes to funk music. You know, it's just a symptom that I've seen called clonitis wannabes. You know, got these clones, a lot of clones and wannabes. I hear a lot of guys out there sounding like P-Funk. I hear a lot of guys out there sounding like Prince. I hear a lot of guys out there sounding like Roger and Zapp. I mean, you know, don't come at me. Don't send me your music and you sound like someone else. That's not real. It's not your funk. It's someone else's funk. It's not. You come up with your own original funk. If your funk sound like 10,000 rampaging elephants, that's your funk. You know, that's original. You know, put that to a rhythm and you got some funk. You know, but you coming up there sounding like P-Funk, sounding like Prince, that's not your funk. That's not yours. You're a wannabe, a clone. And you know, that's what I hope makes me stand out, you know, that, you know, I try to be different. I try to come up with something different. And I like this album here is probably my best produced album, 2 years in the making. You know, and you know, it's a little bit better produced than my last CD. And, you know, cause I've learned a few things, I learned a few tricks, and, you know, and the difference between the last Pharoah and my last CD, the Final Frontier, is night and day.
All right. Well, I look forward to when that album is completed. Definitely want to get that one, and I want to.
It's dedicated to all the comedic followers. You know, it's dedicated to the creator Amun-Ra, and it's dedicated to those who love the funk and want something a little different.
Well, that's what's up, man. And you know, the vibrational frequency of that is definitely connects me with the universe when I listen to that one. And so I really appreciate you coming on the show, Brian, aka Unk-Tu-Amun. And
thank you once again.
Also, I want you to drop how people can look your music up. You said on YouTube. So what do you go by on YouTube? Your handle?
Okay, go to Uncle Funk, UNKLE. FUNK, Real Talk, and you know that's my YouTube channel. You know, you can go to my my official website, www.unkfunk.com, and you know, you click on them links there too, and free your mind and spirit, and get enlightened with the Pharoah Funk magic.
All right, and for those of you out there, you can catch me on YouTube at Clark Boozer. Just type my name in the search and I'll pop up, and I'll go ahead and put that in the description. And we want to say Unk-Tu-Amun, which means life, prosperity, and health for those of you that don't know the Kemetic language. And we'll see you. Thanks a lot for coming on, Mr. Unk-Tu-Amun.
Okay, Ankh and Mayat.